Welcome to our sort of analysis stream. Sort of. I don't know what to say. Welcome, guys. International Master William Pascal to our analysis stream. It's Thursday. I usually don't remember what day it is. We're getting up there in age, in influence. Oh no. Sound? We don't have sound? Better be sound. Someone on sound. We should have sound. Sound. No, it's Mr. Coffee. Turn up your hearing aid. What? I said we're getting older. Nothing would surprise me. I haven't left my sound turned off in a while, but I used to do that all the time. It's gotten a little easier. The Streamlabs OBS usually maintains the settings. The old OBS I used to use would kind of erase them sometimes. Alright guys, we're going to get started. We've got a list of games submitted for today's stream, tonight's stream. Thursday's subscriber stream with game analysis. I did send messages to everybody to let them know. This is my bread and butter. I like analyzing. I probably make a good second for a strong player because I like to analyze. But Magnus hasn't called me yet. Probably doesn't like my stream. Anyway, okay, we've got Mr. Slowhand, Asterbait, Jim, Nefidov, Ibadas, and Igara89. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count. But we still got room for a couple more games. If anybody has not submitted a game yet who would like to, it's also entirely possible that I missed somebody. I tend to do that. Someone on sound, anybody? Nefidov's in the list. I don't think I missed anybody. Wait, 1 hour ago. Ludmilla? This is not to my knowledge. Ludmilla did not submit a game. Alright, Mr. Slowhand first. We got a miniature from Asterbait. Welcome guys to the stream. International Master William Pascal. I call this our subscriber stream. It's mostly a smaller scale stream without as many new people and guests. We're mostly going over subscriber games as a means of giving something back to the subscribers personally. My way of personally giving you something for this little thing you do called subscribing on Twitch. But I enjoy analysis, and that's why I put here no brain, no pain. Because chess is about thinking, not to have a rant about Maurice Ashley and Magnus Carlsen and their schemes to make chess more popular and trick the population of the world into thinking that chess is an e-sport and whatever. Do what you want to do, but I still think that chess is an artistic, beautiful game. The depth of the game is what matters to me. I don't care about rapid chess and blitz that much. We play for fun. It's good for training, but I'm not interested in watching blitz or bullet chess. I'm interested in analyzing and becoming a better player, through deep analysis and teaching other people to be stronger players. So it's not that exciting to analyze chess. When I was, say, 12 years old, I used to sit down with a real board, with real books, and spend hours, analyzing positions without using a computer. Something that's lost today to some degree. But anyway, Mr. Slowhand is first. All right, we're going to take a look here. Mr. Slow, where are you? You got that in early. It's going to be hard to find him. A good illustration of how bad I manage time pressure, or I don't want to fork at all. Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Slow. I think that you're capable of very, very good chess. That's why I'm disappointed when I see you playing bullet chess against me. I know that you're capable. You're playing over the board. You're playing Simons against Korchnoi. Again, I go back to my theme of hating bullet chess and criticizing Magnus and Maurice Ashley for making chess, all about moving fast. All right, this guy's got to be blocked. Damn, dude, why are you doing this to me? But that's just annoying. Do you refuse someone challenge like 3 times? They keep challenging you. What do you think? Um, but I think you need to take your time and separate time controls. Like, blitz is one thing, classical chess is another, rapid chess is another, blitz with increment is another. You can't just play them all like they're bullet chess. So you've been playing faster against me than you used to, I feel like. So anyway, all right, an illustration of how bad I manage time pressure. Against Pop G. I have a friend, Pop Geller. This is Pop Jula. Not that common of a name, Pop Jula. I don't say Jula every day. It's a very classic Hungarian name. So Pop Jula is a good player. He's an excellent blitz player too. Mr. Slohan playing Pop Jula. I haven't played Pop Jula since like 2007 probably. Around there, I think I lost to him in a classical game. I really can't remember. I've definitely played him in some blitz games here and there online over the years. All right, good player. He never seemed to blossom into an international chess star. He seemed to have a lot of potential. I thought he could probably go further. All right, he was very strong pretty early on in his career. This is Mr. Slow against Pop Jula. I don't know that much about him. As I said, I haven't played him but that one tournament game. Maybe a rapid game, but they were both more than 10 years ago. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6, the Berlin defense. And the problem with the Berlin defense, of course, is the endgame variation, where it's difficult for white to make progress. But I've been recommending, queen e2. Technically, d3 is better. That's what Spidler has a big series on this. Probably want to check it out. This basically takes some of the fun out of playing the white side of the royal pass. We might as well just play bishop c4, at the end of the day. If we're going to just play d3. But anyway. Those are your options, more or less, against Lasker's. They should call it the Lasker variation. The Berlin defense. Emanuel Lasker, the second world champion. This was like his favorite move. And, it's been known since I remember, since the late 80s. Alex Scherzer playing it in U.S. tournaments. It wasn't trendy back then. Then Miles, and then it became a major thing at the end of the 90s. Knight takes e4, d4. Another variation is rook e1. It's just so symmetrical that it's not fun, It's funny that Nesmedinov played this with white. There are top players who attempt to get something here as well. This variation. Knight e5, and then like knight e5, rook e5, bishop e7, bishop f1, or bishop d3. It's hard to believe that Nesmedinov, of all people, would choose to play this variation. A player who's insanely tactical. But it's a little hard for black to get out of the paralysis with the knight on d6 getting in the way of the d pawn. It's all been worked out theoretically. So let's see what you did. By the way, just a note. It's not crazy what Pop Jula is doing. To play this variation against a lower rated player, these guys that I knew, these grandmasters that I knew that played this for years, Alex Scherzer and Miles, they would grind down lower rated players regularly with black. It may seem a strange choice to play this for a win, but like Miles, for example, his endgame technique was so awesome. He would routinely beat lower rated title players, for example, with black in ascending. And we've seen a lot of examples at the highest levels. It's easy for white to go wrong. Queen d8, king d8. I mean, you have the two bishops here with black. The king is not necessarily in that much danger. And I think it's a very, very subtle position. I mean, the e5 pawn is a bit overextended. I want to say that I think in practice, it's harder to play white than it is to play black. Juicebox, what's up, man? I hope you guys enjoyed the new Ponda, the Ponda badges. All right. So let's turn off the engine for a sec. Look at the score. White is better, but not by that much. But I would bet if you took this, if you took this kind of line and put lower rated players' games, it would probably be even closer to 50%. It's just so hard to play white here. So h3, but Mr. Slow probably knows some of the theory. h3, rook d1 check is another move. Knight c3 is a move. The only thing I know is that it's probably good to trade off black's bishop pair. So if you get the opportunity for white, like to get rid of his bishop pair by trading bishop for bishop, I think that's generally, that's all I'm going to say. I think it's generally a good exchange for white to trade the dark squared bishops off, but not easy or even possible to force that. So h6, g4. So this is a new concept apparently. Certainly not very fearful. I'd like to see if we could reincarnate Tony Miles. I'd like to see Mr. Slow against Tony Miles. h6 not the only move for black here, as you can see. It actually has kind of a bad score. That would be relatively statistically significant. h6, the high score for white winning, and then not very much wins for black. It looks like king e8 and bishop d7 are way better. An interesting note. All right, h6, g4. So this is not a typical move. Generally speaking, I think you're going to weaken your king side. And black can get attacking chances with h5. And you can't remove pawns and move them backwards. DK guy, don't worry, man. I'm not really into the whole Maurice Ashley thing, Oh, that's the other thing. But whatever. It's all too hyped. I'm becoming like kind of sick of this fake internet chess. I'm a skeptic. I want to see real chess reinstituted. I don't think that chess is being revitalized, according to CNN. I love these articles in the major news media. Chess being revitalized, and then pictures of Magnus Carlsen next to Michael Jordan. No, I don't think so. Call me a skeptic. G4, knight e7, and I think we're going to have to be careful that this isn't going to hurt us at some point. That's why people don't play g4. I mean, it's understandable why he played h6. It keeps your pieces off of g5. It's not that he's going to play g5 necessarily. It's a defensive move. Anyway, all right, knight e7, king g2. All right, so this move here, probably reasonable. Improving your king position and preparing yourself in the eventuality of black trying to play h5 or something. It looks like a good idea. Now immediately, this is just a blitz game, so we're not going to overanalyze it. Knight g6, knight d2. This might be a surprising move to some of us. I definitely wouldn't have played knight. I would have been like paranoid of knight f4 check. What is knight d2 about? I mean, what can we do with knight d2 that we can't do with knight c3? Fortuna chess coach, long time no see. Not really into the Maurice thing. Fortuna chess coach. He's all right as a person, but I'm not a believer in his revolutionizing chess. And I don't think chess needs to be revolutionized. Make chess great again. Chess was fine the way it was, but whatever. He's been doing this for 20 years. This is the 20th time Maurice Ashley has revitalized chess. I don't know what White is doing with knight d2. What is our plan here? Knight c3 controls two central squares. One thing that bothers me is bishop e6. That's the Jolly Joker. The white squared bishop. We don't have a white squared bishop, so we have to be particularly careful about that, doing some damage. Like bishop e6, bishop d5 could be a problem. Maybe, maybe not. This move scares me though, knight d2. Maybe it's not a big deal. This doesn't seem to be anything special. I mean, obviously, Mr. Slowhand, he's playing a GM, so a draw by repetition would be an okay result. I mean, you can't do that if you're black. Although if Pop Jula was playing another GM, he might take a draw by repetition. I don't know. He can try g5. It looks kind of committal and artificial to me. I'm not even sure if knight f4 check is a good move, to be frank. Now he plays h5. So there's the Jolly Joker. And good luck controlling the white squares. So now we have a serious problem. We probably have to close it up with g5. I'd like Maurice, but I'm kind of bored of revitalizing chess now. It's getting old. Alright, bishop f5. Yeah, he's just probing the weaknesses in White's position. How bad is knight d2? I wonder if this is just a blatantly bad move. I mean, h5 is already dangerous enough. And you're giving him knight f4 check. Oof. He plays best move according to the engine? No. The engine preferred h5 right away. I think g5 was forced. So black's made a little bit of headway. The problem for black is the pawns. I mean, Black's majority on the queen side is technically his big advantage, but it's hard to actually convert that into a passed pawn. And that's why oftentimes these lines are draws, for one thing. Black's majority on the queen side can't go anywhere because of the doubled pawns. Your majority on the king side, by the way, believe it or not, you have a king side pawn majority, is pretty spaced out here. I don't really like it. Does knight f4 check pick up h3? No, it looks like it gets trapped. That may have happened in the game. Unfortunately, there may be tactics with rook h1. So knight f4 check, king g3. If you try to take this, I mean, I assume there's a problem with this move. So I'm not sure. I mean, there may be some kind of weird tactic. h4 check. That could be a problem, actually. Knight takes h4, and now you have knight takes g5. That's a little bit worrisome. I mean, if we only had bishop takes g5 check, it would be a different story. But who knows? Maybe there's some miraculous move, rook d1 or something. Doesn't appear to be existent. Yeah, I mean, Pop Jula just plays fast. It's a 3-2 game. This is not a simul game, guys. So he's just playing quick. And basically, Mr. Slow didn't really know what he was doing in the opening. stage. This is a sort of surprising move for me. But I guess he started to feel that his knight was trapped or something. Honestly, I don't know what's happening after bishop takes c2. I guess there's a problem here, Houston. But maybe we ought to grab a pawn before we end up taking knight takes c1, you know? Now we do like bishop e3. Is this knight trapped? There are problems with this, obviously. So I guess Popjula was concerned he was going to get this knight trapped. So he decided to just bail. So anyway, well, at the end of the day, we get to this position now. I feel like here, things have slightly improved for white. You know, I mean, he's worse. There are a lot of holes in his position. But the closed position and the two knights against two bishops might not be that bad. We're still overextended. Which started early with the move g4. Very easy to overextend in this thing. That's why you got to be very careful. But this move is a problem, bishop e4. Okay, here he could have played bishop e4. Check, f3, bishop d5. Very complicated. I still think the black is clearly better. But, you know, I mean, there's some squares. g6, knight f5. It could be an issue. Honestly, I think bishop c5 is kind of a weird move. But the main plan for black is like what to do with the king. He ultimately needs to decide what to do with his king. Is it going to go to c8, go to b7? Is he going to put it back on e8? Does he want to play bishop c5 and king e7? That's unusual for this to happen. This is a totally atypical game for this variation. I've never seen anything like this. But Popjula is just trying to... He's just trying to probe with his bishops and pick off some pawns, basically. It's not too deep. I'm a little concerned. And c4 is a serious problem now. Yeah, that's a problem. Black was just too laissez-faire. It looks like he's losing a piece. Yep. You can't just leave your king on d8 indefinitely when the thing's opening up. So when he played bishop c5, I wonder, is that a mistake? I don't like my king on d8. The engine actually likes that move. This is okay, this is okay. This is just too greedy, I guess. Okay, so bishop d5 check. Not necessary. It also allows knight f5. Although we have to be worried about f5 and white's pawn majority, possibly. So this is just a blunder. I mean, he needs to move his king, and he's better. At the end of the day, it's going to be hard for you to realize his pawn majority with those two bishops slicing and controlling like passed pawns. I don't think you have that realistic a chance of getting through with a passed pawn. But it was kind of atypical variation for this type of line. I don't get the feeling like Popjula plays this a lot. You know, looking at this, if it was like Miles, he would like systematically destroy you. I get the feeling like maybe Popjula plays a lot of different openings, and this is not a regular part of his repertoire. I don't know. There's something very strange about leaving the king there for such a long time for a player. If a player plays the Berlin defense endgame line, I just don't think they would leave their king on d8. That was really, really careless. A lot of people, I think, try to play the Berlin because it's so popular. They may not be specialists in it. He might just experiment with it. I'm not sure if he plays it on a regular basis. h4 instead of bishop c5. I'm not crazy about bishop c5. I don't know. Kind of like that bishop. I mean, I guess the problem is the rook, right? Yeah, h4. I also don't think that he played optimally earlier. Black is better here. It's not enough to win so easily, at least. These pawns, though, are very, very strange for white. You got to be seriously worse here. You're not worse here. Wow. Knight e3. I thought you're worse in this position. Engine likes it. Although I like the two knights versus the two bishops. I didn't like taking the undeveloped bishop on c1 either. It seems like a kind of fail. But it was a sort of silly one-move blunder that lost the game. It looks like you're hanging on, though, with correct play. King g3 here, then he just loses a piece. And that's it. Anyway, interesting discussion, though. I mean, I don't even play this man because it's just too complex. I wouldn't even know where to start, you know. I've never seriously even considered trying to play this variation for white. Even if you know it, like you're the best player in the world, I mean, you like have the tiniest edge against the top players. Better just to avoid it and not even enter into this discussion. You know, I don't know. But I think it's very dangerous. It's amazing that you beat a grandmaster in this variation. But again, I don't think that he's an expert. I get that feeling. All right, guys. That was Mr. Slow. Thank you for the donation, Mr. Slowhand. 500 bits. Usually, interesting game. This was certainly an interesting opening. I mean, g4 is a really big mistake, I guess. You know, typically that'll be played later. You want the pawns to advance together. Your pawns got kind of spaced out. You know, that doesn't look right. You want the pawns to be in a... You ended up losing the game. What can I say? That's the point. That you lost this position. You're up a piece, dude. I mean, you know, what can I say? If it's like degenerated into a bullet game, I don't know what we can take away from that. You're up a piece for nothing in this position. You're +6. I can't really take much away from that, except that you lost on time. You dropped a rook on f1. Well, I mean, it's not very instructive. What can I say? This is just time. You're just playing blitz here. Still winning though with the two knights. But he's tricky and he's good at like bullet and like pre-moving and stuff like that. But this is obviously a winning position. I don't know what to say about it, you know. Here you had knight e6 check. This is why I don't play bullet chess or commentate bullet games, because I don't really see the point, you know. Here I hung a rook against a grandmaster. I mean, what is there to say about it? You know, you could have forked his king and rook and you didn't, and you lost. I mean, it's just degenerating into you know, insanity. Now it's unclear. But for me, I don't get it, you know. This is even now maybe winning, but like kind of technically difficult. You don't have a lot of pawns left. Four connected pass pawns for him. You know, like there, I mean, you have rook h7 check, taking out most of his structure, and you didn't do it. You're more concerned about your h-pawn, but I would be concerned about, you know, eliminating his threats. This is a much better prophylactic idea. You're trying to get your h-pawn going, but he's faster than you here. And subtly, it's completely unclear. And no wonder you lost now against a strong grandmaster with a very scary position where he has four connected pass pawns on the queen side. I think that black is better practically. And now maybe he's going to flag you from a drawn position or something. We get to a tactical position with 2 connectors now. This is a win. And that's it. Yeah, but I mean, what's to say? You know, it's bullet chess at that point, and you both made a lot of blunders, and he won. I mean, I find the opening of the game kind of interesting. All right, next guy is Asterbate. I want to get to move 11 is submitting a game. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see the point in going in this variation, especially against a stronger player. For white, really not easy. I had a game with Miles once and I drew, but it was like an uphill struggle drawing with white. You know, I mean that's not where I want to be against a grandmaster playing an end game. I think it's a bad decision. You know, even if you were a grandmaster, I think it's a bad decision to play this line for white. You got to be like a specialist. You know who's a specialist if you're ever really serious interested in if you really want to play this line, which I don't, but Mr. Slow, like Caruana seems to be kind of for some reason world class expert in that line with white, but I don't want to go there. I give up, man. It's the reputation of chess. So Asterbate is up next. Move 11. Thanks for submission. Asterbate, where are you? You should have been after Mr. Slowhand. Damn it, I lost it. I don't like the message system. They tried to improve it, but it's still not better. It's even more confusing now and impossible. 2 hours ago, I have a grab, but we'll just find it here. All right, Thursday commentary submission. Do I have a record of my games against Miles? I mean, you might be able to find it somewhere online. Move 11. They were played on World Chess Network, and Larry Christensen at one point claimed that maybe he found or had some access to the games. It would be interesting to get all the database of those games. Try to find out through somebody who knows something about World Chess Network or the site that was formerly World Chess Network. Some of them have actually migrated into ChessBase. I've seen not all of them, but some, a handful of my games floating around in like databases that were like banter games from on there, but I don't know. Kramnik won a world title using the Berlin. Yeah, I mean, Kramnik is another player who loves the Berlin. But I was thinking specifically, like with white, you know, who's Caruana seems like. Carlsen plays it for black too. Actually, Magnus and Caruana probably had some games in the Berlin, but I don't even want to go there. You know, it just seems, and it's insane for like a low rated player to play the white side of that against a grandmaster. I think it's a bad choice. All right, rapid chess. Magnus took down Naka. He is the favorite, I would say. Maybe not in Blitz, but it's close, right? It seems like he's still a favorite in anything but Bullet. You know, maybe even in Bullet. Like, when is Magnus not a favorite? Is he not a favorite in Blitz? Rapid, definitely. Who's the favorite in Bullet? Is Naka? Who's stronger, Magnus or Naka? I don't know. I don't care. All right, Asterbate is white. E4, E5, knight F3, D6, bishop C4. What are you talking about, Asterbate? Portish. In what respect? Portish is there? You mean there as in a place? He was on the radio this week, I said. Hungarian radio. The Alpha Zero ranking? What is that? What are you talking about? Okay, bishop e7, kind of unusual Philidor move order. And now d4. Good to see you try to take down that pawn on e5. I'm looking forward to this because we never see Asterbate have to face this. This is an interesting move order. I mean, if you play the black side of the Mamedyarov favorite, the exchange Philidor, see there, of course, Magnus versus Mamedyarov. Mamedyarov, the only top player crazy enough to play this for black. It's actually not that bad, but I would honestly sit next to my teammate Zoltan Varga while watching him play the black side of this opening and just wonder, like, why would you want to do this to yourself, you know? Um, but he, you know, he was willing to play it because it's like not, people aren't that well prepared for the exchange Philidor, I guess. But it seems like it's sort of masochistic to play an opening where you have like no space and you're trading off your central pawn on e5. Maybe revisit some chess magazines from 1978 when Hungary took down the unbeatable Soviets. Yeah, I mean, you always see like the stuff at the Hungarian Chess Federation. They have like pictures. Um, there's a lot of photos in the Hungarian Chess Federation about stuff like that. The Olympic team that beat the Russians. That was like the highest point in Hungarian chess, almost one of the highest points. They had a very strong, balanced team. I think that's what made it so strong. Like there wasn't one superstar, but everybody was really really good. The Hungarians had very very strong players in the 70s and stuff. But all right, so e takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6. I'm in the wrong line. So this is a way of like bishop e7 is a way of black player forcing or trying to force the exchange variation against people who play bishop c4. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think I've ever seen Asterbate actually have to play this. The problem is bishop c4 may not be the best. Bishop c4 may not be the best way of playing against the exchange variation of the Philidor. That's the problem. If we look at the normal variation e d4, knight d4, we play this main line with knight f6, knight c3, okay. Let's say bishop e7. Now, check the database here. We've got bishop e2, g3, bishop f4, bishop c4, knight on d to e2, queen f3, bishop d3. So there's like literally 7 or 8 moves for white in this position. I'm not sure like bishop c4, although it seems kind of natural, is necessarily white's best line. Because you're going to get hit by tactics based on d5. The other thing is that this diagonal isn't as well supported. There's possibly pieces coming to g4 sometimes. So a move like bishop e2 is like more conservative but safer. So Asterbate is basically now committed to playing a bishop c4 exchange variation if he plays d4 here. You could play something quiet, but I think this is a principled move. E takes d4, knight takes d4, but he doesn't play knight takes d4. He plays a gambit now with c3. This is interesting. I've been encouraging him to play this kind of stuff more often against bad lines, like h6 in the Philidor. But I don't know that this is really quite as justifiable. You're basically playing a Danish gambit now. Playable, but I don't think it's as justified as if black played h6 or something. So, Asterbate, you should just take back here. You just need to take back on d4. Content yourself with that and play. Now just play chess. Be aware of d5 ideas, but you have a slightly better position with the pawn on e4. Not that easy. He decides to play a gambit now with c3. Mr. Coffee, do we have like the 5-minute follower chat on? Or how is it set right now? Are you with us? Mr. Coffee should be here. He just put out Thursday. What do we have for like the follower chat? All right. I'm getting all these random people like asking me if I want to play chess. It's like I'm clearly doing analysis. All right, this is interesting. We're not playing, guys. I'm analyzing with subscribers here on Twitch. So c3. It's probably a viable gambit. Check the stats out. 4 games, 4 wins for white. Mr. Jula and Shandor Farago. Farago, Shandor. So 2 Hungarians are 2-0, who I know. But this is interesting. It's a subtle move. Black has to play knight f6. White has nothing special here. It's funny that white is 4-0 in this position. I mean, if like Zoli Varga was playing black, he wouldn't lose. I mean, you can't take like these statistics literally. 4 games to nothing means nothing. It's just coincidence that white won all 4 games. White is actually not even better here. All right, but this move is a mistake, I guess, giving white a pretty good Danish. Now you have queen b3. That's a problem with f7. So this would force king f8 or some allowing like bishop takes f7 check. I guess we play like cb2, bishop f7 check, king f8, bishop b2. And it's unclear. It's unclear. And white has the initiative, but he sacrificed the pawn to get it. Easier to play white. So what do we get? D takes. You didn't play queen b3. This is not such a bad move though, knight c3. I think that white still has compensation. Knight c6 apparently transposes to some other games. This is more incisive. It's strange because Asterby would normally look for that move, queen b3. I mean, you have to think knight f6 would be better than bishop e7 in some respects. But we still can't protect f7 properly. If you play queen b3, I mean, black could play d5. Now you play bishop takes d5. I don't see what this does. Is this a possible way of returning the pawn for black? Apparently there's no good way of defending f7. So d5 doesn't do anything. Anyway, knight c3, knight c6, queen b3 now. It's like funny that you saw it now. It's not quite as good as it was last move, but it's still not bad. I think we saw this game once before, a long time ago. Douglas Bryson, English master. Knight a5 clearly is the only move. The other move is like king f8. What happens on king f8, guys? The same thing. Bishop takes f7, knight a5, queen a4, king f7. So here there's a Tipsay game. He's an Indian grandmaster. He was actually like the first Indian grandmaster before Anand. A lot of people don't realize that. King f7. It's not like Vishy Anand was the first Indian grandmaster. There was a couple before that. But this type of position much easier for white to play. What do you guys think? Do I have some sort of message from somebody? All right. Let's get back. Sorry, I just wanted to check my messages on Twitch. So, big blunder now, knight h6. This is just missing bishop takes h6, losing. Yeah, black is busted now. How does black protect f7 on bishop h5? It doesn't. It's just over, isn't it? Oh, he has d5. Yes. Yes, of course. Yeah, d5 is the only move. d5. It's not that simple after d5. I guess we would take with the pawn. But there's no decisive blow. I guess we're threatening d6. For example, like knight b4, d6. It's very difficult to see how to protect f7. I think this isn't good. Alright, Aspie. Nice game, though. It was a little miniature. Black just blunders. He plays 95, 95, and then allows mate in one. That was entertaining, but I think that it's unsound. Don't try to insert this gambit all the time. Although c3 is like 4-0, it's actually looking like it's an inaccuracy. Knight f6. Playable, though. It's a Danish gambit, essentially. It's probably not that bad. But I prefer that other line we looked at. So just knight takes d4 next time. Alright guys, I'm doing analysis streams, so I'm not taking challenges. Usually I do that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. I take challenges from viewers playing Blitz and Rapid Chess. Tonight's stream is about giving back to the subscribers and analyzing like serious games. So we're back to Jim now. I haven't seen Jim in the stream. I'm not sure he can make it, but he submitted a game. Thanks to Mr. Slowhand and Astrobate, you guys, for donating. By the way, Astrobate, thanks for the gift sub the other day. I'm not sure I said thank you. Thanks to Mr. Coffee for being our mod. He's doing a great job today, as always. Guys, I just want to remind you, we have, speaking of Blitz and Rapid Chess, we do come back tomorrow. Jim's in the house. We do come back tomorrow with the stream at 11 a.m. CEST. Sorry about the ambulance. Let's get some ambulances. It's like very little traffic with the pandemic, and they still have the sirens on like max. I don't see why that's necessary. Alright, let's get back to game 3. So Mr. Jim. Mr. Jim. I feel like I hear the same ambulances coming and going. Where is Jim? I think I went too far. Did I get too far? No. I think I've gone too far. Better just to search for... Actually, how do I search for Jim? Not that easy. What's the exact spelling of his name? There it is. Alright, sorry. Game for Thursday, the result of taking risks. Long game against I am Kirat. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Kirak. I don't know how to pronounce Croatian. I understand how to pronounce Hungarian, a little bit of Russian, Spanish, and English, but Croatian is not on the list. Game for Thursday, this is Jim against I am Kirach. So, classical chess, Jim playing white. Jim is a big supporter of our stream. I appreciate him, as I do with all you guys. Thanks for subscribing. Please don't forget to subscribe. Alright, so, wow, nice game by both sides here. Did you see that analysis? Oh my god. Perfect game. Jim made an inaccuracy. E4, C5. D4. Oh. Embarrassing. The Smith-Morra. Rubbish. Alright, it's not that bad. White, you can see white can equalize. Stored evaluation. 0.0. The Morra gambit probably does equalize for white. So if you're interested in getting an equal game with the white pieces, you should give it a try. A lot of people say it just loses a pawn, but I think that white can still maintain equality with perfect play. If that sounds appealing to you, you should definitely give it a try as well. I do my best to sort of not sell it, though. I don't believe in it. But I'll accept that it's like a reasonable opening for beginners or people who don't have time to study like the main lines. C takes d4, c3, and now black plays knight f6. You know, again, I don't understand really why strong players would choose to play against the c3 Sicilian rather than the Morra. The c3 Sicilian is a better opening than the Morra. See how the advantage increased for white when black played knight f6? The only advantage of this is that if you want to keep your repertoire kind of more manageable, it's like one less thing to study. But honestly, you should accept more Gambit. It's better than playing the C3 Sicilian. In the C3 Sicilian, it's actually a kind of tough challenge for black to equalize, where against the Mora, like, he probably has many ways to equalize. So now Jim plays c takes d4, but that's not really the main move. Knight f3 is the main move. And DK Guy is one of the biggest fans. One of his biggest fans. As am I. All jokes aside, guys, this is technically considered like inaccurate to play c takes d. I'm no c3 Sicilian player with white, though. I'm normally playing black. Infinite Flash Chess, I'm your biggest fan. It's our moderator subscriber, Infinite Flash Chess. Backup mod / perennial subscriber. Good to see you. Sometimes he can make it for the evening streams. Infinite Flash is one of those followers from the United States. Maybe he doesn't stay up all hours of the night. I don't know. Like Acerbate, but he can't make all of our streams. But he is a follower at heart. But Infinite Flash also, you sometimes are streaming too. You guys can check him out. Quite a good player. I think he even beat me once. I don't know. Don't remember. I try to put the losses in the back of the mind, where they belong. All right. So c takes d4. Not the best move, but it's okay. Now d6. Knight f3. Black played e6. Oops. Okay, I slipped forward. Sorry. Knight f3. Jim's playing white. Knight c6. See, this is not the only move. It's the main move. e6 is interesting. I once saw like Kashishvili play a setup based on bishop d7, bishop c6, which I thought that was kind of interesting interpretation. Our other mod, what's that, Mr. Coffee? You work while I stream. Oh, you work while I stream. Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee works constantly. He's just never taking a break. Just like me. No Infinite Flash, it's good to see you. Hope we get to play sometime. Knight c6, queen b3. Well, this is quite unusual. Well. Markland Peter Richard. Markland Peter Richard? Markland. Who is Markland Peter Richard? This is like a British player that I didn't know. Interesting. I'm assuming he's British. The name is extremely Anglican. I never heard of this player. That's funny. I don't know everybody, but he's got old games from the 70s. He played with Pribble and with Quinteros, and another game. I think we're going to call this the Markland variation. It's funny. I mean, I'm old, but I haven't heard of this guy. He was a lesser-known master, apparently, specializing in queen b3 and the c3 Sicilian. Funny that he has 3 games in the same line. It does seem strange, to place the queen on b3 here. And bishop c4 is a far more natural move. Queen b3 is not developing, so that's like, okay. Possible that Jim is just prepared a weird sideline. Infinite Flash, just where are you? When you say over here, are you overseas or something? I often miss things in the chat, guys. Sorry. So the bishop c4 is a normal move. Black can play either knight b6 or e6. I've tried both for black. Sometimes Grandmaster Vito Levente has been stopping by my streams, Tranquilizer here on Twitch and in lichess. he's a huge C3 Sicilian expert, and we had some battles. But I think he slowly sort of cut down on playing it because it's just like too analyzed out. Um, all right, so e6. Yeah, I mean the question is the placement of the queen here. It looks kind of sketchy. Someone played this against Espiano. Good friend of Vita Levente. Probably not a great idea. Zinker. Not the best opening choice to play like the C3 Sicilian against one of Levente's best friends, and also the C3 Sicilian is kind of was taught by some Romanian players. They have a little specialty going on there. This piano, of course, from Romania. He's from Brasov. So e6, this is knight c3. Even though he plays for Germany, he was originally Romanian. So e6, knight c3, knight takes c3, b takes c, d takes e5. And this is kind of a normal happening, but there's just like a queen randomly on b3. That doesn't seem beneficial for white. On the other hand, I don't know, if I necessarily want to play d takes e5. I wouldn't mind if white would take on d6 and developing our bishop grammar. All right. It's hard for me to look at this from white's perspective, honestly, Jim. If you're out there, I don't think Jim is in the stream. It's just hard for me to look at it from white's perspective. I'm so used to playing black. When you play a position like this with an IQP or with a broken structure, like these Isolanis, I mean, you probably don't want to trade pieces, objectively. The more pieces you trade, the more this, the more the slight structural deficiencies kind of count, and the more that black might be a little bit better in the long run. Basically, Jim doesn't really want to trade pieces, so I would suspect like we would take this way. That's what Zenker did against this piano, but again, good luck, man. You didn't really choose your opening very wisely. All right, so d takes e5, bishop b5. Controversial, but better than knight takes e5. One idea for white is maybe to play bishop a3. Although again, I don't want to trade pieces. This move is like, it's your good bishop. I had a very similar game I analyzed with one of my students today or yesterday. I don't remember. I think today. And I was just explaining, like, after something like bishop d7, we just transposed to De La Riva versus Kala Gabor, Hungarian grandmaster and television personality. No. Kala used to have a TV show, a chess TV show on Hungarian television. Maybe did it quite a few times, with one of the TV personalities here in Budapest. We played in Hungarian team championships. Berenson, thanks for the help on the badges. He helped set it up. I mean, I set it up, but he helped upload them and give me a choice, and I chose the ones I liked. And he's helping me, and he's still donating to support the stream. You like the new emote? What is that, a COVID? Is that a COVID emote? Berenson Chess just donated 1,000 bits, in addition to helping with the sub badges. They're paying me to help me. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support in every way. But you could see bishop d7. Pribble, also a good player. Kalai with black, play bishop d7. This is a greedy move. What can I say? It's a greedy move. But it's principled. This is not a greedy move. I love castles. We might as well just all in, This is a great move. I wonder what Vita Levente would say. Might as well at this point. We just go with it. The theme. Now I'm concerned about, I don't know what the best way to approach this is for white. Because Jim's is going to have like a lost position down a pawn if he plays routinely here. I don't even care about the second pawn. One pawn is enough. I'm looking thin. My God, man. What? I'm on fat watch. Are you serious? I've been on... I put myself on a fat watch program. Whatever that is. I just started to notice I'm getting fatter. I haven't been exercising as much on... It's not affecting my face yet. That's the thing that's deceptive. Usually when you get fatter, it like goes to your face first. But for some reason, that's not a problem. The haircut should make me fatter. Not today, Bob. Sorry. Good to have you back, though, in your old spirits. Bishop f4, you know, I don't know about this, but I don't know what to suggest. Does anybody have a good suggestion? I like rook d1. You know, that seems like the spiciest move available. It just doesn't seem like black's going to be that seriously inconvenienced here. The other possibility is maybe knight e5. But why is that better than knight takes d4? Don't ask me. I mean, this is basically bull crap, you know, what white's doing, objectively. The whole thing with bishop e5, but we're going to make the best out of it. I just don't know about bishop f4. It's nice, but it doesn't really do anything here. He's out of there, castles, and now rook d1. This particular diagonal, it's just like a random diagonal. There's nothing on it. It does prevent queen c7. Now black isn't greedy now. He doesn't need two pawns. I mean, one is enough. He doesn't need to win this pawn as well, although bishop f6 might be a useful move. He likes developing. And now a4. So basically we can take stock now in white's position. He's down a pawn and he has a worse structure, but he has a very little bit of compensation based on piece activity. Not a good place to be. a6. Oof. Yeah, it's lost. It's just lost. I mean, a4 loses. You can't allow a trade of queens in this position. You just can't allow a trade of queens in this position with a worse structure and down a pawn. The last hope is something that doesn't allow a trade of queens. Anything. d5. Actually, why don't we at least get rid of our structural weakness and bail out and play for a draw at this point? Is this a problem? We have a problem with knight a5. Okay. Do you have a problem? Yes. Astrobate, thanks, man. Yeah, tomorrow maybe, Bob. I'll let you have a peek. Bishop d7. Whew, this is a disaster. We can't afford to trade queens. I mean, it's just not happening. I don't know what to suggest. I don't even see a move. We probably have to exchange bishop takes knight. But how do we even do that in good circumstances? I feel like white is just lost here. The best move is rook ab1 plus 1.2 for black. a4 just makes it worse. So let's see if he actually got anything going. He's just totally busted. Down a pawn with the worst structure. We can get rid of this one, though, and objectively have chances to hang on. Yeah, we can't give him this a4 pawn, and then bang, another tempo. I mean, I don't know if there's any conspiracy theories or anything here, but honestly, Jim made it really easy for black to play this game. Black didn't have to do anything, and like all of his moves were extremely natural. So we're gonna see like here, it's like 0-0-0, 8 cent upon loss. But I wouldn't even be like the slightest bit concerned that black was like using an engine or something. He's a title player, he's an IM, and he's had a very easy time of it. Jim made it very easy for him to play a perfect game. I'm normally like even with title players, I would be kind of nervous when people play 8 cent pawn loss, but Jim misplayed the opening really bad. This is just too easy for black. Taking candy from a baby. And now it's just hopeless pawn down. Good square for the knight here. Now what, though? Rook c7, maybe? a5 is a bit of a minor concession. We don't really want to fix our pawn on a dark square. Okay, Jim resigned. I mean, it's kind of a premature resignation, but I understand against the title player possibly resigning. I would resign against the GM, maybe. But it wasn't a good game. Very bad game for Jim. Didn't get out of the opening. But this Marklin variation, I don't get it. You know, queen b3 is it's just a bad move. What can he do better? Like queen b3, e6, knight c3. What is the point of the whole thing anyway? What is the point of queen b3? I'm not sure what it does. You know, I just don't really get it. We see the results here. Zenker versus Nispianu. Jim's not in the chat, is he? No. Abstain until tomorrow. Oh, man. Saving up all your trolling. It's been a while. All right. Don't save up on my account. Mr. Slow's done. Acerbate, Jim, and now Nefedov. Well, I've got like a little star or something next to my portrait on Twitch. Okay. We're going to cut you off soon. So just be warned. I'm forewarning you. No more warnings. Alright, we've got Nefedov up next. Where's Nefedov? There it is. Game to analyze, please. I like it when people are polite. It's a lost art, politeness. I normally don't like it when people submit their games with me. But if I win, I feel a little better about it. Alright, so I'm white here against Nefedov. Mr. Coffee, I'm glad you're here, man. Because this is your favorite opening. I think you were probably here, though you had missed a few streams. Perhaps you weren't here the day that I played Nefedov in the Kali system. This might have been that day, 1 of 2 days when you weren't here. Oh, man. I mean, I've run out of things to play. Nefedov is one of our most prevalent opponents, right? Cross table. Check it out. 200. This is not a mistake. 265 games. Nefedov is the record holder. $265 games. When you've played 265 games with someone here on lichess, it gets a little old playing the same game every time, playing the same variation. I've literally run out of things to play. So I was just like, all right, whatever. I'll play the Kali system. And I did. I played e3. I thought maybe Nefedov doesn't see that every day. Another good move is c5. Just, you're playing the Queen's Gambit. And when white plays quiet openings, I think it's best to play, to take advantage. It's best to, basically when you're black against a quiet system, pretend you're white. It's the simple solution. For example, if white were to play the move order with like e3, if I'm an e4 player, I play e5, and I pretend I'm white. If I'm a d4 player, I play d5 and I pretend I'm white with the black pieces. Although you have to be a little bit more conservative. The Kali system is not really dangerous, and I should probably play, you know, knight f3. This is the better way to play the Kali system. It's a little more aggressive. Mr. Coffee plays the Kali, he knows it. This is a Yusupov thing with e3. I guess it's not as good as knight f3. Another wild statistic, guys. Does anybody get anything out of this? I just thought it was funny. Looking at the opening explorer, Um, Don't Cry Wolf, you think the same thing? You know what I don't believe? Honestly? Look at the Opening Explorer. The Opening Explorer says 496,000 games with knight f6 and only 210,000 games with d5. I mean, seriously? I've always considered these two moves, and I think that most top players, I'm not a top player, but most title players, say international master level or higher, would probably think that knight f6 and d5 were equivalent. Um, yeah, it's shocking. I was frankly shocked. I mean, I never like stopped to look at that statistic, and today it was like, what? Seriously, knight f6 is more than twice as popular as d5. I was kind of stunned. Like, seriously? Wow. What happened to classical chess? Um, and this is not like the lichess Opening Explorer. This is like over the board games for the most part. But I'm just wondering if anybody out there has like a database program they could look at, like ChessBase. Because I don't believe this. I think that the it's an app. I mean, the Opening Explorer feature on lichess and a lot of chess sites is like a third party sort of program. And I mean, it's okay, it's useful, but I don't really trust the statistics. They have a lot of omissions, a lot of older games aren't in there. It's only games over 2200, but still, I don't buy that the disparity would be that high. That's absurd. Like, I can't believe that there'd be twice as many games with knight f6 as d5. Nah. It's got to be closer than that. Because both of these moves are equally good. I think knight f6 and d5. In any case. Alright. e3, quiet move. Black plays knight f6. Bishop d3. And now c5. This is best. If you play passively, like say e6 or something, you give white the ability to play like maybe a decent stonewall attack. I don't think that that's good. I don't think you want to give white a reasonable sort of stonewall attack, so I don't prefer those e6 type of things. This is a good move. c5. Yeah, the problem is I don't know what I'm doing. The last time I played this was an infamous game against Josh Whiteskin, which he put in the Chess Master program and analyzed it in the multimedia version of chess, the Chess Master. I beat him, but it was a game where like he kind of dissed me and claimed that, I don't know, he had a good game, and I don't know, whatever. It wasn't a great game. But I literally haven't played like in 20 years the Kali system with white. I don't really play this opening. But I didn't even know what I'm supposed to do here. So it's interesting. c3 keeps our stonewall hopes alive with f4. That's one approach. And the other approach, b3 right away. Very few games. So almost universally white plays c3. I did not realize that. That's probably how I got in trouble against Whiteskin too. I'm not sure if I played bishop d3 against him though. I think I might have played knight f3 against Josh. But I almost never play this. I went through a phase where I studied like Rubinstein's games, and I would occasionally like throw out something like the London system or this Tartakover Koltnowski system with white. So chess-based live book has 445,000 for knight f6 and 187k for d5. That is crazy. That is seriously messed up. Classical openings are like underrated. d5 is underrated. I don't feel like it's that way for me. I feel like actually online half of my games are d5, d4, d5 if I play d4. Extremely popular. Online, it would probably be more the classical stuff like e4, e5, d4, d5, e4 with white is all more popular than live. So I play knight f3. This is an inaccuracy. Knight c6. This is actually a good move because if bishop g4, I can bust the c4 on him or something maybe like that. How is this? I thought this might even be interesting. God, there's no games in this position. How is that possible? Mr. Coffee, how is there no games? with bishop g4, c4. This would transpose to a Queen's Gambit accepted. I'm like a tempo down or something. And I'm still okay. c4 not a common idea. But ironically not bad. So this position, h3, castles, h3, b3, c3, knight on bd2. What about c4? I still don't think it's bad. Alright. He plays knight c6, now b3. And I'm just already like, I hate my life. I hate this position. This sucks for white. I'm just worse after 4 moves. Great. But what else can I do in this position? I felt like castles would be even worse. This is insipid. There's no way for white to get any kind of active game here. Yeah, knight f3 is wrong. Knight f3 is wrong according to the opening explorer. It's not wrong according to the engine. The move is apparently c3 first, but this is... What am I going to do? I'm going to play the stone wall, f4, like Sotsky, Kamsky. This grotesque game. Bishop g4, knight f3, e6, castles, and then like bishop d6, Sotsky, Kamsky. Good idea. Play the stonewall attack against Gada Kamsky. I don't think you could come up with something better than that. It's literally probably the worst opening choice I've ever seen that someone could play. Like, you couldn't handpick a more like stupid thing to play against Gada, who's an extremely strong positional player. I mean, that's ridiculous. Really. Like, you could play like the Grob or something and have a better chance. Here, it's funny though. I love being sarcastic. Anyway, we got a bad position. I just threw it out there. Okay, so bishop g4, Nefedov very incisive. Bishop e2, cd4, ed4, e6. So check it out. He plays queen a5 check against me. Now I have the saying on my stream, queen a5 check is always bad, or queen a5 is always bad. And this may not be so bad. He's trying to trick me into playing c3, so I go, oh, I actually did that, right? I actually did that. Oh my god, yeah, that's embarrassing. Yeah, we both missed it. Why does Nefedov have to submit this game so I can show everyone how we both like missed a simple tactic, c3? Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, knight takes d4. Well, at least I have the bishop pair. The engine thinks that I have some compensation here. Yeah, I mean, at least it's a try. I'm not sure that Nefedov actually thought about this. I don't know. But looking at it now in retrospect, I mean, queen f3, I'm starting to like my position better than I did before. After the pawn grab, at least there's some dynamic chances here for white. With my bishops opening up. And I'd rather like be down a pawn than suffering. Down a pawn with some initiative and then suffering in a passive position with no play. That's horrible. And I don't think Nefedov would play h5. Highly risky and aggressive move. But I was ashamed to miss like that. But look at the games that people had to play. Riefschlager against Farago Ivan. That's embarrassing. I mean, to play like bishop c3. This is embarrassing. And he still got a draw against Ivan, who's a great solid player. Another game, Dessing won with black. Galiamova lost with black in this position in 2017. That's embarrassing. Galiamova losing with black in this position. With bishop c3. White's position is like absurd. My god. Horrible game for white. Alright, so queen a5 checks c3. He doesn't take the pawn. I castled, got out of there. Now it's like, okay, I'm only slightly worse. And then bishop e2. I decided to cut my losses. I didn't see how to get out of this pin. How am I going to get out of this pin? There's a plan here I didn't see. Queen e2, queen e3. Queen e2 gains time, then f5. I mean, I would be concerned about this, though. You know, my queen being vulnerable to something like queen c7, bishop d6, bishop f4. I also have to have some familiarity with playing the Kali, which I don't. So I didn't find it, I just retreated. I decided to lose the tempo. Black plays bishop e7. He played perfectly. Now I'm just trying to trade pieces. Obviously, it would be better to play knight on bd2, but I'm dropping c3, so I can't do that. And b4 is anti-positional and horrible strategically, so I went with this, trying to basically equalize with white. Knight d2, knight d2, bishop e2, queen e2, castles. Black has played a perfect game. White not so much, except for the tactic with knight takes d4. And now a4. I hate my position even now. Maybe c4. I thought that c4 would be risking my d pawn having some pressure on it, but it's probably not a big deal. I can reinforce that with knight f3. I started getting time pressure here. I have 40 minutes. Oh, this is simul game. I had 40 minutes left. It's not time pressure yet. I played a4 with the idea of bishop a3 in the future. Rook c8. Perfect game by Nefedov. And now h3, just a waiting move. a6 is a good move. Queen d3, just waiting. Bishop f6. Knight f3 here. And now I would accept a draw with white against pretty much anybody. And I'm angry with Nefedov for submitting this boring game, which he played very well, by the way. But look at this strategic plan. Knight e7, knight f5, knight d6. This is so horrible for white. I hated this position. Now he plays knight a5. Yeah, he can play interesting games. Not this one. And now he just simply loses the game on a one-move tactic. It's actually very lucky that I have a trick here. Bishop e4. I didn't see it. All tactics only work like maybe 1% of the time. My theory is that 99% of tactics don't work. But fortunately, Nefedov tried to combine on me with knight takes b3. You know, figuring queen takes b3, a5, and he has a good game. Slightly better for black, but it just doesn't work because I play a5 and win a piece. That's how you do it. That's like a Grandmaster perfect game, except for one inaccuracy. To have a rubbish position the whole game and then have your opponent like drop a piece in one move. I mean, I hated my game the whole time. I hate even talking about it, you know. But it looks like, what are you going to do? You're going to play c3 here. Even bishop g4 is probably an interesting move. I mean, this is not a threat to black's existence. Mr. Coffee, you would play knight f3 though. The proper Kali, I guess, we play knight f3 and hope that black, you know, plays e6 or something, and then we're in business. All right, this is a Yusupov move order. It's a kind of specialty. I don't really play that with bishop d3. I'm not going to do this anymore. I mean, this is just lame for white. Look at the score. The main move c5. Black's score is insane, you know. It's like all wins for black, no wins for white, even though the engine says it's only 0.1. Good players, with this exception of Satsky, and I don't know why Yusupov doesn't have any games here. Isn't that kind of odd? Like, shouldn't Artur Yusupov have some games in the database? I mean, that seems kind of strange. But anyways, moving on. Mr. Coffee, no game today. All right, Yubatis is up next. Yubatis. Ayubatis. Guys, we're going over games from my subscribers' submitted games here. This was a game that I played, ironically. But normally it's not my games. I don't want to see my own games. Engine doesn't evaluate that position accurately, I think. You mean this position? White, I don't know. I think that white might be worse. But But it's not sure. It's pretty shaky. Like if you go forward one move, with like c3, I don't think that. I think equal is the max. You know, the best white can have here is equal, but I think that's generous. I'm not sure that c3 is a worse move than knight f3. You know, knight f3 is the only move that that transposes though. It's going to transpose to another position. I don't know what you do after this. Knight e5 or something? I actually thought about that. I literally thought about trying to do something like that. Trying to play the stonewall attack. After e6, though, c3, we don't get time to play f4. Black will just take on e5. There's actual games here. Wow, Boo actually played this with white. Oh man, this is creepy. Knight d7. Stonewall attack theory. Alright guys, on to the next game, Ubatis. Thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe to my stream. We're going to be back tomorrow with Blitz on Friday. Fast Friday, I call it. We play 5+3 casual challenges against all comers with established ratings here. So Ubatis is a crazy game for the stream. Crazy game for the stream. Ubatis is white. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Blitz. If anybody wanted to challenge me and I'm not accepting today, come and try again tomorrow morning, 11 CET. So knight f3, d6. I like this move for black. I remember Michael Rode playing that in the 80s. He played it against a friend of mine in a simul. Maybe it was a tournament game, but there are not a lot of interesting moves to play against knight f3. This is the problem. f5 is really risky. D5, c5, those are very standard. Knight f6, g6, maybe b6. I was thinking about a6 recently. I've literally played b5 against Kushdar Shandor, who lives in we played here in Budapest, but now he lives in Montana or something. But I was thinking recently, hey, maybe a6 is interesting. We could trick black, we could trick white into playing the O'Kelly Sicilian. Kind of O'Kelly invitation, I call it. But anyway, there are not a lot of interesting moves to play against knight f3. So d6 is one of them. If d4, you can do this Wade defense or whatever it is against everything. I mean, objectively, it's not great for black, but one of the only interesting ways to play, where you can get a kind of imbalanced game playing for a win with black. Because the knight f3 is very solid. I know because I play it with white. So I think I like d6. d6, but you just play g3. You're not interested in anything, critical. You're just going to do your thing. Yeah, I guess e5 I like best for black here. Probably go for it. If d4, we can push e4. And then I don't know where I am. We're in the twilight zone. The opening twilight zone. I don't even know what this is. It's kind of like in English where we didn't play c4. And likely to transpose, actually. We could be really funky with knight h4. The good thing is that we have a retreat square on g2. Never forget. Fianchetto knight. The Fianchetto knight is pretty tough, but I wouldn't really recommend it. That reminds me of weird pseudo Alyekin's defense, like e4 g6, d4 knight f6, e5 knight h5. Or this is an actual thing. That you're not familiar with this, there are actually high level games where Carlsen has played against it and with black. It's not so stupid. Of course, the knight can drop back to g7. I've seen instances where white plays like g4 and then knight g7. For example, g4 is probably a bad move. It's the wrong ding. Ding. the wrong ding against. This is like ding versus Rapport. It's like they're fake. It's like the fake news ding versus Rapport game. But knight g7 and then h5. You go back against that. The overextending g4. Black's position is actually quite durable. No, but seriously, we'll get to Yabatis' game. All right, so I'm getting on a tangent. Bishop g2, g6, very standard stuff. It's just gonna be King's Indian versus King's Indian. Great. This is painful. If you'd like to play symmetrical King's Indian, you might want to take a look at some Petrosian games. He was the only person I know who excelled in the symmetrical King's Indian. It's pretty tedious in my experience because I've played it. The symmetrical King's Indian is a special opening. I don't like this because Black can play c5. Yeah, I don't really like playing the King's Indian attack against the Sicilian. Not my thing. Alright, so knight on bd2, knight c6. I've played this position for Black, and I don't like playing it for White. c3. Yeah, rook b8. I have a number of games going back into the early 90s playing this setup with Black. I remember at Hastings, probably around 1993, I had a game I won with Black against some British master. The idea is just to get the rook off the long diagonal, and then it'll probably, relocate at a later date. But you're also just like trying to push b5, b4 if you could. Well, you got to give Black awards for creativity. Queen d7. Now, this is something that you would do in some setups where you play b6 or b5 and put the bishop on b7 and queen d7. I'm a little concerned, that you're taking away the possible retreat square for the knight there, with knight there. It's obviously blocking the bishop, so there are some unnatural qualities about this move. And maybe most importantly, White is threatening d4, and you just basically did nothing about it. That's my problem with what Black's doing here. I don't know why Yabatis didn't play d4. You could look at cd4, cd4, knight b4, and you're trying to get in on this square. Mr. 123 is new here. Say hi. Hi. So queen d7 seems like a very strange move. There's another possibility. He could try queen g4, queen h5, bishop h3, knight g4, trying to invade with the pieces on the weak white squares on the king side. But it all looks rather artificial. But Yabatis chooses just to play queen e2. It's a reasonable move. You don't have to play d4. I guess I would probably lean toward maybe rook e1 if I had to pick. Over protecting my e4 pawn. Okay, this is another reasonable move. Queen e2. Petrosian again. Petrosian. Over protecting our e4 point, our strong point. Now b6. And again, as I said, that's reasonable. Putting the queen on d7 in tandem with the bishop on b7 is something that often happens later. There's also this. It's not so crazy. He's protecting the knight as well with the queen. That could be an issue on the long diagonal. Kind of a way of enabling b6. Because if you think about it, what if he played b6 right away? Let's ask ourselves that question. What happens here? Piquet versus Van der Velde. Arkady Neidich. Apparently it's playable for Black. There's nothing wrong with b6. You got to make sure that there's nothing funny happening. This looks like it could be a very strong exchange sacrifice for Black. Like knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes a8, and say your prayers. Even just this. Better for Black. That might be surprising to some people. Like, white is up the exchange in this position. Bishop g2. And Stockfish evaluates advantage to black. I mean, up the exchange for a pawn, but still. He's up the exchange. There's something to be said for this. Anyways, so queen d7, queen e2, b6, and then e5. Where did that come from? So that's what you're up to. That's why you play queen e2? To lunge forward with e5. I thought you were trying to overprotect your center. You just couldn't resist. He just tempted you too much with that long diagonal. See, that's what hypermodernism is about. I used a similar ploy in the closed Sicilian once to win a game. This well might be a mistake. I mean, basically black has induced white. He's induced white to exchange off his own center. If takes, I mean, clearly knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes a8. And again, we have another version of the aforementioned exchange sacrifice. Apparently this is the best one. Hoist it on your own petard. If you're not careful here. You could be getting yourself into a very dangerous situation. At the end of the day, I mean, e5 is not a developing move. Queen e2 is a slow move. I thought you were just trying to build up. But this is like, oh no, I'm going to attack. All right. Now, he doesn't dare sack that exchange. Yeah, I like this. Just taking. Calling your bluff. Now knight c4. So you have a better version. That's a better try. Okay, this looks reasonable. Probably. I don't want to rely too much on the engine. Ponda's here. He's good. Thanks for saying hi. See what he has to say. Hey. Thank you. Good to see you guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow for some blitz. Don't forget to play h4. Bye-bye. Seems sort of bored tonight, Pon. I know what's up with you. He wasn't expecting that guest appearance. One day we're going to get him his own show. I thought that would be the optimal. But anyway, so it looks like this is actually not so bad for you. If you do knight c4, you can handle that position. Knight e8, very hypermodern player. And then what? I mean, wow, that's triply protected. 1, 2, 3. It's protected by everything. How does that work, Master? I'm just gonna, first of all, ask you, how does this work if queen takes e6? Your opponent took with the pawn, but I want to see this. It's just a lie. It's a blatant, absolute lie. The only chance would be queen takes queen, bishop takes, and maybe knight d4 or knight e5. And you can, quote unquote, win the exchange, but it looks viciously dangerous. For example, this line. Okay. Actually, what's the material here? Let's try 95. Oof. Man. The bishop is trapped at a8 in some variations. That's just sick. The bishop can actually get trapped on a8, but that's just one example. No, this is a terrible lie. Don't be fooled by your opponent. So first of all, he took with the f-pawn, but I think this is cleaner. You know, take with the queen. I don't see. There's nothing happening here, officer. Just send in the chess police. You hear those dogs out there? They were barking for you. Save a dog. The chess police are on the scene here. I mean, this is not sound. But pawn takes looks like it gives you a little more fun. So now knight g5. I still think black has good comp. Here he was patient. He could have played e6, forcing white to give up the bishop for the knight on e8, and I think there's good compensation there, like this position. Black has a pawn for the exchange. Very, very strong Tetris here in the center. Two bishops. Solid game. I mean, I think he has compensation. Let's see. He actually gives white a very small pull with a glance at the position. But, okay. Materialistic. It's unusual for Yabatis to be materialistic. He goes to get that exchange back. And then what? Uh-oh. We're starting to get some coordination here around the f7, e6 points. It's kind of a passive move. That actually looks okay. Oh my god. Black's sort of a genius. I mean, he found a way to trap this. And imagine if you play queen f3, you run into this steamroller where you lose a piece. Ouch. So, this is total desperation. Bishop takes g6. Total desperation. I'm not going to turn on the engine. I don't want to embarrass him. And then h5. Steinitz on a bad day. I guess defending black's position here. Chess elitism. I mean, white is simply desperate, and this was his only chance he could find. Now, queen f5. We're basically bankrupt. I mean, it's not like we can put a rook on h1. We're down a significant amount of material. I guess it's not that much material, though. Black had to give up a rook. It's true. You know, you're not down that much material. He's got two pieces. It's only two pieces for a rook. It's not really that much. But it's worse than the material. It's this diagonal. But black has to be careful. Queen f5 is good. And I think that black is probably winning here. Everything's under control. Everything's under control until it's not under control. I mean, it's true. There's no pawn cover for the black king. I suspect that black is winning with good play, but I've been known to be wrong. No fear of queen takes d3, the ultra materialistic move. Wow, I'm surprised. But suddenly it's gotten very scary. There's f5. I'm tempted to turn on the engine and see what it says. Black's totally winning. Bishop c8. Yeah, you almost made me believe you. I was starting to believe you. I don't know, man. Yeah, Donald Trump's going to shut down Twitter. Like, Twitter is probably the only reason he's like president of the United States. It's ridiculous. Shut it down by all means. Um, you'll destroy like your only very slight chance of re-election. It's just spiraling more and more toward the situation here. Basically, the United States will become Hungary if Donald Trump remains in office for another 4 years. But hopefully that won't happen. I don't use Twitter. I don't think it would hurt the world if they shut it down, but I don't think that's a good thing either. All right, so f4, e4, f5, and this starts to become. I'm not really here for the political commentary. That's a bonus, but whenever I do the OBS, Streamlabs OBS, I turn it on to ask me if I want to notify everyone on Twitter. I don't do Twitter. I think Twitter is annoying. Anyway, queen f6, queen h5, e takes d3, check, and we need more force. Where's the force? Bishop h6. Just 96 check. Nice. Tactics, flash tactics. That did turn around nicely, though. I mean, this is a good game from the perspective of deception. I mean, you could take an evaluation by the engine, and that's why I've talked about creating another kind of analysis. Let's say another way of measuring chess positions that's more like human oriented. Because like here, look at this position. I was shocked. It's like +4 for black. If we go back a couple moves. At this point, it's like +4 for black. But I think that's like in reality, is that realistic? How easy is the position actually for a human to play? No, bishop c8 was a huge move to hold up the f5 square. I think this was the turning point. Black lost f5. He also can play the more passive sort of e6 here. I mean, obviously it's a little bit scary around here. With a bishop leaves, if the bishop has to leave, and I don't think you have to take that though. Black could probably just play another move, knight f5 or something. Objectively, black was winning, but it's not that simple. Just take, the computer says it's +4, so it's a win. Look how easily black lost this position. After this f5, it's suddenly very dangerous. And now, one move later, he takes a pawn, queen h7 check, and 96, and white is winning. It's just winning now. Because the f-file is extremely problematic. We're going to win the queen, and that pawn isn't really going anywhere. And white's development will decide with rook a e1. So it's a coffee house game by white, but instructive. It wasn't without concept. It wasn't totally ridiculous. Last chance here with g3. By the way, this bishop, excuse me, that's a queen. Queen on g3. Is it a threat? Yeah. Like, it's a threat. Kind of a threat. Queen g3 check, king h1 d4, mate on the long diagonal. If you play this, it's like queen g3 check, king h1 d4. Whoops, I think something went wrong. That's how close the margin is here. So one last trick. Check, king g8, and bishop takes e7. Ooh, that's cute. That's a funny way to defend g3. It's still a check at e3. Then king h2. What's happening? Rook f2. So if we play check, and now g7 is gone. Coronavirus might shut down your chess club forever. I don't think so. You just make a new one. No problem. You're talking about like the what's it called in New England in Metro West is going to shut down HTFP. I don't worry about that. Don't worry. Online chess is not going to substitute for that's a Maurice Ashley fallacy. He's been trying to revolutionize chess for 20 years now with no success. I don't think it's going to take over. Although your chess club might shut down for whatever reason, a new one will pop up to replace it in some sense. Don't worry too much. I believe that regular chess will come back. It will never be substituted by online chess. Knight e6, pawn takes e6, knight e4, and rook f4. Is this sound? It's a cute threat, though. Queen f7 and rook h4. No move. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If it was my chess club, I'd be pretty pissed, honestly. But that sounds like kind of bigger issues with the housing of the chess club. I mean, I lived in Boston for 15 years, and my chess club, one of the most historic chess clubs in Boston, had to leave Boston because Boston real estate prices were so high. They had to find a place in Cambridge, and I feel heartbroken about that. That the Boylston Chess Club is no longer in Boston since like 2004. I live in Hungary, but I'm still sorry that happened. Like, the Marshall Chess Club owns its own place. The problem isn't really the coronavirus. It's like having a chess club where your location is not secure. Those people that maintain that chess club, should have thought of that, a better, more secure, long-term location for their club. I mean, but it's not really it's not a real regular club. That's like a club where you're meeting like once or twice a week, right? I mean, it's not the same as an everyday chess club. But still, it's a shame to see club chess decline, and that's been happening over the last 40 years, Save Dog. Club chess has gone down, but I don't think that online chess is going to kill it, because you can't have real online tournaments. As much as this promotional stuff with Magnus Carlsen looks cool, what they don't say on CNN is that you can't have online tournaments because people cheat. At the end of the day, it's just never going to fly. You're never going to have real chess tournaments online. Maybe with a handful of people who are being monitored by arbiters, but you just can't fundamentally have online chess tournaments ever. That will not work. So don't worry about the future of real chess. I don't think that online chess tournaments can ever really exist in a proper sense with prizes that are fairly handed out. All right. Anyway, we've got James. Not James. I can't read. I need new glasses. I need glasses because I've never really had glasses. But Igara 89. All right, we got Igara 89, new subscriber. You just have to have faith, HTFP. There are other chess clubs in Massachusetts. It might require you to travel a little bit further, or start your own chess club. So Igara 89, but I wouldn't give up on it. And the Metro West was a strong chess club. They should reorganize in a new place, if necessary, with a new club. But I think that that should continue. Online chess is not going to take over the world, despite Magnus trying to make it look like it is in the world media. E4 knight f6. So this is, let me check this again. Igara is playing black. All right, we're playing the Aliakin here. Knight d5, d4, d6, c4, knight b6, pawn takes pawn. All right, so this variation, the exchange variation, was very, very popular always. But the problem is that black can play e takes d6. When I first learned chess, I mean, I think Bobby Fischer played the exchange variation with white. I mean, that was before my time, but the Fischer games that he played with this variation were still talked about. It's not that good for white because of this, but only because of this. This is against the spirit of the Alyekin's defense in a way. Like, you want to play interesting chess, taking toward the center is more dynamic, but it's just better for white. You know, my friend Zoltan Varga would probably like disagree with me that I should tell people not to play this way. But I've played the Alyekin quite a bit, mostly in Blitz, and I don't want to play this. You know, it's just too difficult for black. I think there's a couple holes. This is number one. You see these two lines here with knight c3 and d5. Shabalov played d5 against me, and I was very, very lucky to draw in the game where I played black. This is a serious problem. The other problem is knight c3. Knight c3, g6, bishop e3, and this has been known for 20 years now. This variation is just bad for black. So the only way to play is e takes d6. And sadly, I think for a lot of players who play the Alyekin defense, that kind of takes the fun out of it. I also don't really like it, but I like it better than being worse, you know. So that's all there is to it. You know, you have to play e takes d6 if you don't like losing. And hopefully, like, the variation won't be as popular anymore. White won't have as much fun either. But you could kind of have to just defend. It's a lot like a Petrov or Exchange French of sorts. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So c takes d6 and white play bishop d3. Okay, so this move, I don't know what that is. That's an unusual move. Knight c3 is good. Knight f3 is a typical move, but bishop d3 I've never really looked at. It appears to me like the d4 pawn isn't well protected. We could also just transpose to other more common lines, though. Probably white normally plays like knight c3, and then you have older lines where bishop d3 is a move. Usually like bishop d3, bishop g7, knight e2, so as not to get pinned. This is like an old school variation. I think that white is a very bit slightly better, but it's not really that dangerous, you know. If this was the best that white could do, I would play c takes d, you know. But I don't think it's the issue. You know, the issue is these specific specialty lines, like this knight c3, it basically puts it out of business. You know, this move with rook c1, it's a very, very unpleasant line for black. So that's the problem. Anyway, this is unusual. I'm not sure about knight c6 or not. It's tempting to attack d4, but it may be like you're trying to force things too much here. If white plays d5, you might be worse. I'm a little concerned that this is like you're tricking yourself. What happens if d5? Knight e5, something like bishop e2. Okay, maybe this isn't accurate. Just curious. So this variation is very unusual looking, but it seems to be okay for black. d5 is not a direct refutation. The engine's coming around in my way of thinking, though. Oh, it doesn't like bishop e2. Look at this, 7 games and no one played d5, the best move. But that's critical. It changes the structure. You know, now white has a permanent space advantage with d5. So you just go here, and then you don't play bishop e2. You can just like give him your bishop. This is never hanging because of queen a4 check. So for example, like knight d3 check, queen d3. It looks like white is slightly better, but it's not a big deal, maybe. Maybe this isn't so bad. Alright, so anyway, the jury's out on knight c6, but I think I would just play like g6. You know, I would just transpose to like one of the main lines after a while. it's going to go back into a main line. Playing knight c6 is tricky because you might get hit by d5 in the wrong moment. That's the trick in these type of lines. A lot of times black wants to play d5. You got to play d5 in the right moment. Then when white plays c5, it's either a knight c4, or sometimes your knight comes back to c8 and maneuvers to e7. The whole game is about like when white or black is going to play d5. That's the key. You know, you're playing knight c6 here, kind of interesting. You're playing knight c6 here is a little bit frisky. So bishop e3, and now g6. We're going to get a normal-ish type of position. But I mean, as long as white hasn't played knight c3, we're never going to transpose to a normal game. I don't know why he's delaying knight c3 so much. All right, so knight c3. Strangely, there's no gains from this position. And e5. Again, like d5, I like this better because it fixes the pawn on d4. And I still, after teaching chess for 20 years, I don't know how to call that pawn. I want to find a terminology for this type of pawn. It's not isolated, it's not backwards, it's like a target in this type of structure, this pawn. Does anybody have a definition for what you call that kind of pawn? I think that this is better. On e5, maybe it's okay too. This was the game. But these type of structures remind me of like the Sveshnikov and the Najdorf. It's like a Sicilian. Personally, I like d5 better. But that's my... The question is evaluating this, you know, here. You have to go quite a ways into the position and see like this pawn isn't hanging. We've got enough pressure on d4. We might have a break with b6. I find these positions very interesting. I like the Alekhine. If white promised to play, you know, this variation, I would play it every game. But anyway, all right, so d5, knight d4, and then bishop here. This move is, like once I did against Vadim Milov and then wondered what I was doing. Mid-move, you're like, what am I doing? Trading off my own good bishop for the guy's bad bishop on g7. No, whereas this move makes a lot of sense in certain situations, I think it doesn't make a lot of sense here. You know, this bishop is actually restricted by the pawn to e5. I think white might actually be helping black, essentially. If you have a pawn on h5 and you're going to get a raging attack guaranteed, maybe bishop h6 is good. But it looks like it's just a mistake here. So knight d4. Well, I guess maybe black should just expect white to castle. The interesting imbalanced position. Chances for both sides. Rather standard. This might be a mistake. But I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for black here. I'm not sure. I think I like black slightly. I would rather be black a little bit. You have a chess tournament tomorrow. Hope your opponent's not using computers. You can't be talking about like over the board tournament, right? You're talking about an online tournament. I think there was a tournament in Iceland that already took place. Actually, they're trying to start tournaments here in Hungary probably from June, but I don't know. There was someone asking organizer, are the borders going to be open? It's going to be hard to have an international tournament with no open borders. Yeah, it's hard to give people general tips. To use your time. Use all your time. John Fedorovich told me, think a lot. Think about all you got. Don't play too quickly. That's the number one mistake that people make. Try to use all your time. That's the common mistake, number one. All right, I don't know about bishop f5. It's a move. I'm not crazy about it. I don't really know. I think the pawn structure is tricky. White, the competing majorities, this majority over here versus the majority over here for black. These are very complicated type of positions. We're talking about imbalance. Black has king side majority versus queen side majority. Um, a lot of calculation. We could probably play very simply, like just exchanging knights or something. What about this knight on b6? I don't want to exchange knights, but I mean, let's just say for argument's sake, you played knight takes there. Well, you played like bishop takes. You took here, and you went into a more simplified position like this and played, I don't know, f5. This position, for example. What do we make of this? Where's white going to put his king? He's going to castle kingside, I assume. If he castles queenside, he's a little bit crazy because of this file. So I think here, like, I like black. Looks like our pawns are more relevant, than white's pawns. But it's an extremely complicated position. So bishop f5, bishop g7. You like bishop f5, take on g7, then on f5, and then d4. What do you mean on f5? He's going to take back with a knight. On d4 first. So DK guy, were you like reversing? No, I mean, then on d4. Is this what you mean? Bishop f5, bishop g7, king g7. Maybe you meant this. Well, this is a problem already, structurally. That's master coffee to you. I'm just kidding. All right. I'm not sure if DK guy means this. I'm not happy about the pawn structure going to waste here. Ooh, what was this? What just happened? Man, that's a nice king. It reminds me of a game I saw someone post on Facebook. Danny Gormally put a game he had against Keith Arkle. It's like, what did I do in this position? It was like, centralize your king on d4. Here I played an active move against Keith. Can you guess what it is? I mean, yeah, if you can put your king on d4 and play like a5, black might be better. But no. This is kind of dubious for black. I don't like what happened here. We don't need to let this happen, But you got to calculate that before you play the move bishop f5. Like I'm saying, it's not very exciting, but maybe on bishop h6 again, something simple like just take, and take. And I know that it's not very Tal-like, but I kind of like black here at the end of the day. Realistically, I don't think his king can just sit in the center and blow you away with h4, h5 and mate. This pawn is kind of a target, and I don't see anything better than this. Now you have stuff like queen c7, bishop d7, rook c8, f5, and I think black is slightly better. World Loser, what's up? The engine disagrees. It thinks white is slightly better. Huh. Stupid engine. Why did I turn you on? The engine really thinks white is better here. Wow. I am surprised. Ruined all my story, my narrative, claiming white is better in this position. Man, is it going to bust me with h4 for real? Queen e7, h4. Just chilling with the king in the center of the board. Okay, I mean, I don't know. If I agree with the engine's evaluation here. f5. White's really better. h5, g5. That's what I was thinking. I mean, maybe for a computer, white is better. But I'm thinking, at the human level, I'm not sure white is really better. I know he has a strong pawn on d5. But I just don't think it's so clear, I would almost rather be black. Well, I mean, h4 is it's a natural move, but a lot of people, and rightfully so, are going to be afraid to conduct this kind of attack while their king is just chilling in the center of the board on e1. I mean, I would be very scared about, you know, how sound this is realistically. But maybe white could just leave the king there and go for it. But I still don't like what happened. You know, you ended up in a position where you're groveling for a draw now. So it might be enough, though. Possibly you can go crazy with your king and set up a dark square blockade. Let's just play like a5, knight d7, knight c5, and try to get our king to d4, if possible. You know, rook e8 is debatable. Because with rook e8, you're like forcing him to make a good move. And you might have to play it anyway. He's probably going to, if he's a smart player, he'll play this. But let's say, just for argument's sake, you know, you play king e5, white castle, and you play king d4. I don't know anything about endgames, but I would say probably black has pretty good chances to hold this, you know. Let's put on the engine. +1. Again, I think I'm not exaggerating when I say black's practical chances are better than a pawn down. But I think that white should probably play king d2. In any case, centralizing the king for the endgame. Alright, so let's see what you did. Check here, you forced him to centralize his king, and then played rook c8, which is very obvious, and then b3. The only thing that comes with this is maybe rook c7, rook e7. But I almost like your rook on a8, you know, playing a5. And I'm not sure about rook e8. What if we just play a5 to start with, and then play like knight d7 and fix that? We try to set up a dark square blockade, and still white is better, of course. So I'm thinking maybe you like forced him to make like easy natural moves. Sometimes that happens. The worst feeling is like when you lose and your opponent like never made a move you didn't foresee. This is maybe a good move. Also, it might have been too slow in retrospect. Maybe he should have played rook e1, keeping control of e4. It's not a major issue right now. If you play this and white plays like bishop c2, you wouldn't have this option. Yeah, perhaps f4 was a mistake, but you did good to play knight e4 check. It's a totally different story now. Like, he's overextended. I'm not even sure he's winning. This pawn is overextended. You have b5 here. Your king can come up to f5. You're doubling on the e file. I'm not sure white's better. Computer just loves material. No matter what I say, it says white's better. g3, king f5. I wonder about b5. That's kind of dangerous, though. There's also king d3, but king d3 is nasty. Yeah, king d3 probably refutes this. Why don't you just double rooks? He's got that rook e1 move again. I'm not that sure though. Even b5, king d3, rook here, pawn takes pawn. Rook e3 check, king c4, rook e4 mate is probably not a good variation for white, you know. What's going on here, for example? Oh, white's totally winning, according to the engine. You have compensation. It's not so easy. Maybe b5 is a good move. You're going to have to play as actively as you can physically play here. King f5, rook e1. I'm a little concerned it was too slow. You've got to break his chain, this pawn chain here. If b5 works, then that's the move. Or else just play rook e8. Yeah, it's going to transpose. I guess this is key, b5. Yep. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to recognize how strong this pawn chain is and knock it out. It's your only chance. If you create a target in his pawn chain, then it totally becomes like feasible for black to draw. But it looks like here you're in trouble. That's variation. King f5, you're in trouble. Does he have rook e1? Now we have to start calculating king and pawn in games. Oh my god. I don't know. I mean, black must be worse. This is a threat in some positions. Not necessarily yet. Damn. This is sick, dude. This is actually, looks like it's holding for black. Pawn down in a king and pawn in game. Because your king is so strong. I would guess by the evaluation of 0.8 that black is holding on. But it's beyond me to calculate that. King power, right? You got to play actively. I mean, this is... White was afraid to exchange rooks, probably for good reason. I mean, he has no chance of losing, but... Wow. So rook takes, and this is the best move, king d3. Now it's like too late, like the b5 won't work. But let's see. There's a nasty threat, right? g4 check. Did you fall into that? Yeah. It doesn't work. It doesn't work now. King f4, king e5. But I was worried about that before. I was worried he was threatening g4 check. He played h5, but it's slow. Can we play b5? cb5, rook b4, a4, rook takes b3 check, king c4. It's too many pawns. It's too many pawns. This is going to come down. All right, that's out. That'd be the first thing I looked at. But h5 is probably not bad under the circumstances. It looks like black's objectively losing. a4, rook e7, a5, okay. He's got this nasty threat here. Now you're going for counterplay. Nice. Interesting endgame. That's a disaster, obviously. Wow. So rook a2. And I don't think white has losing chances, objectively. After rook h1 he does. He might be lost. Then he tries to break through. This might be a good move. I can't calculate this. No idea what's going on. White might be better yet. This pawn is so strong. I think at this point I'm a little concerned. We're going to have to sack our rook for the d5 pawn. And then it's going to be a question of black having connected pawns on the other side. That's really slow. You got to be careful where you put your rook here. This looks passive. d7 is passive. You might want to go to e2 so as to get behind the pawn with rook d2. The engine needs some time to calculate this. Computer thinks that we're hanging on with only rook e8. Not even. It seems to think that black is lost. I can't calculate that far. I can only go on instinct. That, you lost the tempo. I mean, so if that was your plan, you know, you should have just done it right away to play here. I guess there's a problem though, right? Like rook d1. Yeah, that's a serious problem. So you can't get the rook behind. That's the whole point. And rook e4 check is a blunder. So your only hope is passive defense with blockading here, and probably black is lost. I guess that's the conclusion. If we can't defend actively, we're probably lost. Though I wouldn't trust the engine when it comes to evaluating like rook endgames where there's 2 connected or 3 connected past pawns. It needs to calculate like 30 moves. So probably can't do that. You gotta learn to trust your intuition. But I would look for the more active moves before I settled on rook e8, which is passive. But this move seems to just lose a tempo. You force him to take on c5, and then on rook e2 he plays rook d1 anyway. This is a mistake. I mean, what about rook d1? Maybe it doesn't matter. Same difference. It's over. They both win. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe black was always worse. But where did we lose the game here? Take, take. So this was seriously a mistake? bc5. bc5. And you can blockade with rook c7. Wow. King g3, c6, rook c7, and then like rook b1. What is going on here? This pawn is too fast. The outside pawn is too fast. So, very complex endgame. I don't know. It would take me a long time to find the moves that the engine is coming up with. Rook d7. I trust it pretty much here. Looks like black is just about holding on in the best version of this. King c5, rook d8. And you're pretty fast on the queen side. Rook here, check. King f4, rook f1, check. King g3, rook f7, and you have 2 connected passed pawns. This could get really crazy. You have like 2 connected passed pawns, and he has 2 pawns here and here. The engine says it's a draw, but it looks like you clearly lost here. D takes c5, b takes c5, takes on c5. Like this was the mistake, giving up this blockader on d6. Now he has the king escorting the pawn very cleanly and very quickly. And it's just over. This is just over. Yeah, it's not enough. All right, interesting game though. That's an awesome end game. I love end games. I love complex end games, but it takes a lot of calculation. I don't really know. You know, I can't calculate that far. How quickly it would take me an hour to figure that end game out. You know, as quickly as the engine did. I would figure it out probably, but it would take me a very long time. Okay, so move 11 is our last submission for today. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Mr. 11, what's up? 11, no relation to Stranger Things. He is on the stranger side. Let's see. Stranger to the stream, that is. Move 11 not here very often. Master 11, yeah, you've been missing lately. Strange you haven't been playing in our arenas on Tuesday. He's submitting a recent Blitz game he played. The time control is 5 + 8. The old 8-second increment. I haven't played any of those lately. Good God, what is that? Shirazi. Wow. Okay. Well, I played one opening that's kind of similar to this. I play, the only thing I compare it to is the deferred Lisitsyn. Like, basically I had a game like this the other day. D6, E4. And sometimes they let me play E5 or take on F5. Quite good for white. But your submission here, E4, D6, D4, I don't even know what this is called. If you play knight F3 and black plays E5, you have the James West gambit, right? But that's not going to happen. We can't play knight F3 here. I mean, seriously, this is weird. This would just be weird. Okay, so f5. You have two options. Um, this is really nothing great, so that's not. It's either take followed by like bishop d3, trade off his white square bishop, and hope that he has weaknesses on the white squares. I saw like Timur Gareev play a game. He plays everything, right? All kinds of weird stuff. I saw him play a game in a very similar line. It would probably transpose. Let's see, knight f6, knight f3. Can we get like queen d7? I thought there was a Gareev game here. What could it have been? Castles, knight c6. Swear, man, there was a Gareev game. But I can't find it now. Anyway. Alright, so you play bishop d3, bishop takes d3. The other way to play, I thought, yeah, this is actually very reasonable. Knight c3. Because it's like the weirdest French ever, Caro Kann. What is this? You know, this isn't good for black. There's no way that this is okay for black. It's a really, really strange Dutch, I guess, right? We get this out of knight c3 Dutch. How would it happen? Like, no. d4, f5, knight c3, d6, right? This is how we would get it. Yeah, takes. I mean, that's just bad. It's just bad for black. So knight c3, what does he do? He's got to play maybe only chance would be e5. How is e5? It's not healthy for black, but it might be playable. What about this? Go into the endgame? How's our endgame here? Bishop g5 check, king e8. This is like a Bronstein thing. Castle's queenside. And white seems to be a little bit better, but I don't really feel like we're winning or something. It's just better for white. That's another option. Alright, anyway, like your move seems good too. Just taking. I mean, in a way, it's weird to develop his bishop for him, though. I guess I like knight c3 better in principle, that we're not helping his bishop develop out to f5. But this is a standard method here. Bishop d3. Yeah, so the Gareev plan is probably better. If your opponent is really expert on the Colorado Gambit, or whatever this is called, I would imagine this is what Gareev would play. Stefan Bucher, father of the vulture, very good pedigree. What is it called? Does it have a name? This is another animal opening. Does this thing have? It doesn't have a name. Oh, the Balog defense. Okay, it's Hungarian. I don't know what Balog means in Hungarian, but it is a common Hungarian name. So, bishop takes d3, queen d3, knight f6. There's a huge weakness on the white squares. White has got to be clearly better here. And then you win on queen b5 check. Tangentville. There's no way I'm playing that. I don't think I would play it in a rated game. I mean, even if I win material, it just doesn't feel right to me to play queen b5 check. That is an insanely materialistic move. Can't he just play like knight on bd7 and give you the pawn? So check this out. Stockfish is saying knight on bd7, white doesn't take the pawn, right? You're like, come to your senses and then start playing knight f3. Because this is more accentuated now. Black can't control e6 with the weakness. That's interesting. I was just kidding about the b7 pawn. I'm not going to take it. It's interesting. I don't know. I wouldn't play queen b5. I think you should just be pretty straightforward and just develop, pressure the e file, play for knight g5. I don't think you need to do anything special to have a clear advantage. There's a danger you could be getting too materialistic here. So knight on bd7. The other line the engine gave is like queen c6, queen b7, queen c6. That's really strange. I wouldn't mind if it was an endgame and I was a pawn up. Like, I don't know about queen c8, but here, black doesn't have enough compensation for the extra pawn. that white has, clearly. Anyway, I don't know move 11. That's a very unprincipled move, queen b5. It's principled and unprincipled. Knight on bd7. Well, this actually happened in the game. Wow, and so, of course, you took the pawn. Like, you didn't have the chess engine's wherewithal to just say, no, I was just faking you out. I'm not going to take the pawn. It was all just a trick to get you put your knight on d7. Now I'm going to refocus my energies on e6 and the white square weaknesses around the king side. But it's an illustration of allowing counterplay. You know, this probably allows black some counterplay by taking the pawn. I'm definitely not trading queens with black here. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. I hate black's position, but I don't know what to suggest. It's awful. The weaknesses are awful. So he goes to trade queens, and you traded queens. Yeah, maybe it's not such a bad move. Realistically. Rook b8 is a typical move. Will you take the second pawn? Yeah, I guess. I buy rook b8. Probably shouldn't take the second pawn. Alright, so queen b8, you traded queens. He's down a pawn and has weaknesses in this position, but you're behind the development. He's got breaks with c5 and e5. You have no development, but you also have almost no weaknesses. So, I like white, but it's not so easy. Why is it knight c3? I'm not sure about. It can't be a bad move. But I'm trying to figure out what I don't like about knight c3. I can't figure it out. I don't know. This is annoying that we're tied down to b2. That does really bug me. I feel drawn to something like c3 for some reason. Maybe we can move our king over here and protect our b2 pawn with the king. How's that for a plan? Shoring up the white squares. Seems reasonable. The other possibility is like maybe like c4. And that's still. Computer likes your move. How about c3? Is it too slow? c3, e5. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes. There's a hole here. So it's hard to actually get the king, you know, to c2. And there's knight e4 check. It's not going to be easy to do this. So this is not a trivial situation. You know, I think that black has some compensation. No, knight b6 is inefficient. What about the rest of his pieces? g6, e5, bishop g7. He needs to develop his pieces, not move the same piece again with knight b6. And plus c5 is probably important. I don't like this move at all, moving the knight again. It's a waste of time. He's down a pawn playing for compensation. It's not the Benko. You know, I don't think you can do this. Black needs to play like c5, undermining your center. Something more direct. This is too slow. I'm not sure. I like your position much better now. It's like you're winning. You're clearly better. He doesn't have enough compensation for the pawn. The whole knight b6 thing was too slow for black. I don't know about this though. I guess it's okay. I was thinking about maybe leaving the king in the center. It doesn't look that stable. Exchange sacrifices. Probably not going to happen when black's already down a pawn. h4 is just not really a move I was considering, but it might be okay. Can you move your other rook to the e file? and then attack with h4. I was mostly thinking about rook here. It feels a little risky. Should black play h6 to maybe stop h5 here? I don't know. I don't like trading pieces when I'm down material. This is a spicy move. g5. Got to give him some credit for that. I can't say I told you so, but I felt a little weird about castles queenside. But if you lose this game, I would think it would be very instructive. Yeah, you're lucky you have a move here. Man. So you lost all your advantage. You might even be worse now. Look at the knight sideline against the bishop on h6. And you ask yourself, how does this happen? No, we'll come up to a conclusion. What? What? Oh my god, man. King h8. An endgame genius. Well, obviously, black has to play king f7. I want to have a king or I don't want to have a king. You know, those are your two options. You can have a king or no king. Which do you prefer? No king, please. All right. King h8. No. Dude, come on. King h8. It's horrible. He might even still be better after that, but it's ridiculous. I mean, obviously black can take. There's no question black's in any danger here. Now black is playing for a win. The bishop is stronger than the knight. Oh my goodness. That's a good move. I'm half tempted not to take it, but I guess you have to. It's a draw. There's still a small chance you can get two connected passers, though. I don't see how that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, this is a position where you might want to be a little bit careful. Like, first things first, I would consider how we're going to stop his pawn. Very tricky situation. And you might want to advance your pawns together with like c3 and b4, creating connectors. There's a question whether your a pawn is going ahead of the other pawns. It's a buddy system. Maybe you have to. Maybe you have to just get him to distract him or something. Another very complicated endgame, but similar to the game you lost against me the other day. What? So he just bails out. I mean, I'm obviously curious about this, but it's too slow. It's funny, he can't stop it. So here, what now, b4? Oof. That's awkward. How did that happen? We just lost in 2 moves to black. Wow. Maybe king g7 should be considered. What do you guys think? Good idea? I forgot that was my idea. So now what do we do? He missed king g7. Now it's a different story. You're winning, according to the engine. Very instructive. So supposedly it's just like connecting the pawns, connecting the dots. I didn't think it would be so clear. According to the engine, it's just over. You'll be able to get back and connect your pawns and just win. with queenside connectors. Instructive. Yeah, that's really sad. I mean, both sides made a lot of mistakes, but you know, he had a draw in the bag basically. At least, you know, I mean, this is such a sick move. Like, rook takes check, king h8. Okay. I mean, after king f7, only black can be better. He's actually playing for a win with king h8. And this is still a draw, probably after bishop g5. Now it's tricky, but I think black's still okay. And this move, just destroying his own pawn structure. What's objectively happening here? c6? I'm surprised you're significantly better here. c5 was his best move. Wow. Yeah, this is still hanging on. It was an interesting endgame. But if we go back, man, I mean, let's just say, okay, move 11 probably won the game, right? It's trivial now. I assume white wins. But if we want to go back to that position where you let it get out of control, you know, I wonder back here. You've got an endgame here where you played h4. Knight f3. Even castles queenside. I mean, I would take this position and move 14 and very seriously think about what I did. You know, I would take this position and look at move 14 and look at the game until, well, I mean, basically where you almost lost and you came back in the endgame. And think about those 15 moves between 14 and 23, or 10 moves, whatever. And here, what happened here? Like, how did we go from being a pawn up without black having nearly enough compensation to almost losing, you know? I'm beginning to think, like, maybe castles queenside's too aggressive. Maybe h4 is too aggressive. Dude, drop a pawn in an endgame here. Knight f3 is definitely a good move. There's a question about castles queenside. It's probably okay. But h4, in and of itself, you know, this is probably, it might be okay, but maybe we have something more fundamental we can do. Like put a rook on an open file. Is h4 too aggressive? You know, shouldn't you be doing something more fundamental, like bringing your rooks to the open file, improving your king? I'm just thinking, is h4 asking too much? Maybe this rook to the open file first, to put some pressure on him. Here, by the way, you know, that actually looks pretty good, and you would tie him down. Is h4 a mistake? I've got to go, guys, but I'm just going to look at this one last position with move 11 here. This is interesting. The other position I would look at is, because h4, it might be a significant slip, not tying him down to e7. The other one is castles, queenside. Peter likes this move. You could certainly play knight f3 first, though, and then decide. Probably going to have to decide on bishop g7 immediately. Yeah, I like it. This is worth considering, though. King e2. I guess you were facing c5, though. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that actually makes it forced. In order to get rid of that diagonal pressure, that threat of c5 is really serious. So pretty much you have to castle queenside. I guess h4 is my question then. I mean, obviously you don't have to play h5. I don't like that your pawns are fixed on the wrong color. And he has a bishop versus a knight. This is not so easy. But it seems like you tactically missed something with h5, g5. Then he takes g5, bishop h6. This was overlooked. Could have easily been like winning for black in one move. You know, you're lucky you have knight h3. And you're not winning anymore. You basically lost your advantage. You're lucky to recoup the game after that. It just goes to show how easy it is to have a winning position and let it slip. And in this case, like he could have been worse. But came on at the end and took it down in the end game. Anyway, guys, it was interesting. So thanks for submitting the games for today. I'm International Master William Pascal with the Ponda. We're going to close down the stream for today. Move 11, a good interesting end game. A couple interesting end games at the end there. Those two I enjoyed. So very complex though. Hey guys, I'm more of a hacker. I don't really like end games. We're into H4. So thanks Move 11 for the H4. I'm not sure if it really gets approval here from the coach, but it was approved by me, and that's all that really matters. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. I don't know, man. The H4, you're obsessed with that. After all these years, you're still doing H4. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back. Tomorrow, we're going to be playing Blitz against Challengers Fast Friday here on lichess and Twitch. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Thanks, all you guys. We'll see you later.